Welcome to the Career Development Supercast. Today you'll be viewing a supercast on interview guidelines. The Career Development Center is located on the second floor of the Student Center building, room 252. Our hours are Monday through Wednesday, 8 to 6, Thursday, 10 to 6, and Friday, 8 to 5. Our telephone number is 913-469-3870. Our website address is www.jccc.edu/career-development. Before we get started on our topic, let's view our website now to explore some of the great resources available to you. As you can see, the Career Development Center has a variety of helpful resources. You can learn about yourself through career assessments, investigate college majors, explore careers, get work experience. There's a link for services for employers, and you can meet the career development staff. Let's go to the link Get Work Experience. On this link, you'll see Career Spot videos available. These videos are 1 to 3 minutes in length and provide information on the overall job search process. Let's scroll down to see what else is available. You can find information on how to prepare for your interview. There's interview guidelines, resume guidelines, and if you scroll all the way to the end, you'll see a link that says Job Search Services. This includes resume and cover letter critiques and mock interviews for individuals with a pending job interview. Let's go back to the top. We also have information on our website about upcoming events, our hours and how you can contact us, as well as other career links available for you. Let's return to our presentation now. What is an interview? An interview is an exchange of information where companies learn about your relevant qualifications and why they should hire you. It's also an opportunity for you to learn about the company, the environment, and their values, and if this is going to be a good job for you. There are several types of interviews. There's a telephone interview, and this is the first round in the interview process. This gives an employer an opportunity to learn more about your qualifications and to determine if you have effective communication skills. There's also the one-on-one interview where you're invited in for a face-to-face interview where the employer can learn more about your qualifications and your attitude and see if you would be the perfect fit for the job or not. There are panels, boards, and teams interviews, and this gives other employees of the organization an opportunity to meet you and to see if you would be a good fit on their team. And then there are also meal interviews where you're interviewed over lunch or dinner. And finally, there's all-day interviews. These positions usually are presidents of organizations or CEOs and etc. Let's talk about what you do before the interview to prepare for it, what you do during the interview, how to present yourself in the best light, and then finally what you do after the interview is over. To prepare for success for the interview process, you need to research yourself, research the company, and research the position. When researching yourself, make a list of all your strengths, weaknesses, skills that are relevant to the position you're applying for, past experience, your personal attributes, and your interests and goals. When researching the company, check out the company website, various publications such as the Business Journal where you can learn more about the organization. Review the organization's vision and mission statement. Also, the history and the culture of the organization, the target market, and any competition they may have. When researching the position, research the responsibilities needed for the job, skills that are needed, personal attributes that are desired, special projects, the organizational structure, and then if there's any travel, relocation that may be involved. Now, to help you get mentally organized for the interview, think of possible questions you may be asked and the responses to those questions, and then mentally review and practice the questions and responses. Please be sure to review our website for our interview guidelines, where you'll find the commonly asked interview questions that will help you in preparing for the actual interview process. To help you prepare stories to illustrate points during the interview process, we have a simple acronym I'd like to share with you, and it's STAR. S for the situation. Describe a specific situation. T is for task. What was supposed to happen? And then A, what actions did you take? And finally R, what were the results of your actions? There are several types of questions you may get during an interview process. The first is open-ended questions. For example, tell us about yourself. Or direct questions. What problem-solving techniques have you used? And behavioral, situational type questions. For example, give an example of how you determine your customer's needs. And finally, there are illegal questions, such as, are you married? So let's go back to the open-ended question, tell us about yourself. I'd like for you to take some time now and jot down information that you would like to share with the potential employer for this question. Now, I'd like you to take another couple of minutes and write down your answer to this question. Do you prefer working alone or in a team? Jot down your response. And finally, this is a behavioral example question. Describe a situation when you use good judgment and logic in solving a problem. And this is a question that you want to use a story to describe the situation. Remember the acronym that we just learned, STAR. What was the situation? What the task that you needed to perform? What was the action you took? And then finally, what was the result of your actions? There are other aspects you need to know in preparing for an interview. You want to make sure you know the name and number of the interviewer, the location of the interview and directions, the date and time of the interview, specifics of the interview, such as do you need to bring extra copies of your resume, do you need to bring a portfolio, and then finally you'll need to know special material you may need to bring. Be organized and prepared. Be punctual. Always arrive at least 15 to 20 minutes early. Make sure you're courteous to everyone, especially the administrative assistant. Oftentimes, employers will count on the administrative assistant or the receptionist to give them information about how the candidate may have conducted themselves while waiting for the interview. And make sure to present a positive self-image. Dress professionally. Be friendly, smile. These are things that will help you make a first good impression. And be sure to have a set of questions to ask toward the end of the interview. These are suggested materials you may want to bring. 2 copies of your resume, a list of personal references or business references, your employment history that will list all of your employers, your previous employers, the date of employment, and etc. A portfolio, paper, and pen. Let's talk about appropriate attire for the interview. You always want to make a first good impression, so good grooming is really important. Dress one level above the position that you're applying for. When it comes to hairstyles, they should be conservative. For jewelry, it should be very simple for both men and women. If you decide to wear cologne, it should be very light. You want to make sure to hide any tattoos and body piercings. No gum, no smoking before and during the interview. Now, during the interview, remember you're on stage, so the spotlight is on you. When we talk about nonverbal communication, we're speaking of things such as having a very firm handshake, smile, and give good eye contact. Be aware of your body language, your posture, and gestures because those first impressions count. During the interview, make sure you focus on what the employer needs, not what you want. Listen very attentively. Be concise when you give your responses. Don't ramble on and on about things that are not relevant. And be positive. No negative statements about your current employer or your previous employer. Remember, you want the atmosphere of your interview to be very positive. And your energy affects the mood of the interview. So be enthusiastic and don't be afraid to be true to yourself and let your personality come through. Always be honest. Never exaggerate to get a job. So let's talk about the wrap-up. Review your prepared questions. Ask questions to show interest in the position and the company. Inquire about the next step in the process. And be sure to obtain each interviewer's business card. Always thank the interviewers for their opportunity to interview with them and for their time. After the interview is over, be sure to write down relevant information, things that you remember during the interview, or perhaps something you forgot to ask a question about. Evaluate your performance. Each of us knows how we did during an interview. So when you leave, be sure to think about what you did really well and areas you could have used a little bit of improvement in. Be sure to write thank you letters. Thank you notes should always be sent within 24 hours of the interview. You may also follow up with a phone call to determine the position status if you have not heard back in a week or 2 weeks. And be patient. Some employers have several resumes and several applications to go through. So don't give up. Be very patient in the process. And remember, if you don't get the job, there's a better one out there for you. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for viewing our Interviewing Supercast, and good luck in your job search.